Stop using church intimidation, control and manipulation. Jezebel and all them spirits fall back, not trying to hear it. Go with Jesus, walk in peace. On your pew can sit that beast that we're fighting in the world. I'm that JC Supergirl, Jesus Christ, belt of truth, arm of God, I'm slaying you. Power of the word, two-edged sword. MC Heaven rocks for her Lord. Thought they crept in unaware, didn't see the gatekeeper standing right there. Not getting down with your tactics, undoctrinal practice.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome to the Crystal Jones Show. Shabbat Shalom, Barakatha. We greet you in the name of Ahaya, Bahashem Yeshai, Wawarak Kodash. Welcome to the Crystal Jones Show. It's the show that's all about life's balance. Let me help you to watch this show. You can watch it every Saturday from 7 to 8 p.m. on bronxnet.org. 51 and 2137 on the Inspire channel, your cable channels. Okay. Also, you check me out on my YouTube channel, The Crystal Jones Show. Subscribe, watch the videos, like them, share them. All right. Also, you can check me out on Instagram. All right. I have inspirational Bible quotes and also on HebrewConnect.tv. All right. So we are going to go to the scripture of today, which is in Jasher, the 68th chapter. Remember, Jasher is the apocryphal book. And Jasher, the 68th chapter and the 13th verse. And the woman hastened to take away her son before the officers came. Now, remember, this was a time where they were trying to kill all of the male Hebrew children. All right. So this is, again, a black on black crime because we were at one time ruling Egypt through our forefather, Joseph. All right. Joseph basically now he represents the tribe of Ephraim. Ephraim was one of his sons. So, of the 12 tribes, remember, instead of in the book of Revelation, you no longer see the tribe of Dan and you don't see Joseph's name. Now, Dan, the tribe of Dan, what happened? They were into so many of these other nations that they lost their place within the 12 tribes. Joseph, however, because he was sold, but it was for the reason to keep people alive on the earth. The Lord allowed it so that he would become a ruler over Egypt. So his father Jacob gave him two portions. So, excuse me, Ephraim and Manasseh. If you look in the book of Revelation, at the end, their names are mentioned instead of Joseph's. Joseph got the two parts because, like I said, Dan had lost out as far as being one of the 12 tribes. So here we are. Joseph has died and his brother and all of that generation died. So now we are still in Egypt at the time, but the Egyptians now, because they don't know, those who are alive now, the Egyptians, they don't know Joseph, and they don't regard or respect us as Israelites there, not understanding that because they're alive because of us, right? Because our forefather Joseph knew what to do during the famine and help save those, basically the entire world at that time, right? So what they wanted to do was kill us because they felt that we multiplied and all of that kind of stuff. The same thing like today, the same things that's being done to our people, that have been done to our people, to when our young women would when our young women were teenagers and stuff like that, back at the time where welfare was really rampant throughout the earth because they wanted to separate us from our men and all of that kind of stuff. What they would do sometime is give us things when we were like when we became teenagers and stuff like that. We had a hard time with our cycle and stuff like that. They would do all kind of things to us, give us birth control and all kind of things that would mess up our system. Okay, so it's the same type of thing to wipe out the Shemite black male, because when the earth was started over after the flood of with Noah. Noah had the three children, Ham, Shem, and Japheth. So we are the Shemites of his sons. And the Shemites are the ones that God gave the promise to. All right. So this is why we have such a hard time still today. That's never going to stop, y'all. I know, we kumbaya, we shall overcome, and all of that kind of stuff. That stuff is not going to stop until Christ returns and there's a new heaven and a new earth, and we're serving in the New Jerusalem. Okay. So this is going back to, the curse that had come upon our people because our people did not listen to the Lord. Right. So now you have this group of people, they want to kill our male child, because if you kill the male, that's the end of the generations. There can't be a generation that continues, right? So it says, and the woman hastened to take away her son before the officers came. That's Moses' mother, right? And she took for him an ark of bulrushes and daubed it with slime and with pitch, and put the child therein, the child being Moses, and she laid it in the flags by the river's bank. So later on, we're going to continue with that lesson about Moses, how they tried to kill him from birth, same way they tried to kill Christ, another black Shemite, right? So we're going to go further into that. This today will be part 3 of it, right? Okay. So now we are going to talk about what in the world is going on with the immigrants that they're sending in over here to to America, just haphazardly sending these people over, right? This is really not a good thing that they're doing, but they really don't care. All right. So basically, they're sending these, it's really sad. They're sending these people to America, promising them jobs and a place to stay and all of that kind of stuff, right? And so recently they sent some of them to Martha's Vineyard without telling people from Martha's Vineyard. Just, you had the governors from these different states that wanted to prove a point, which is, what could I say? It is so unprofessional of them that if this is how they're going to govern and rule, they don't need to be in place at all. So what they did was they decided to just load these people up on a bus, right? Take advantage of them in their distress and send them to Martha's Vineyard. All right. Martha's Vineyard people were not aware that they were coming or anything like that, right? So the people get there and that's not the case. So now a lawyer has taken up their cause. All right. So what's going to happen is they're going to sue these governors and the United States government for doing this to these people, right? So what are they trying to prove? I want you all to start thinking about this stuff. Why would they? Why is it that they're letting these people just come, by the bus loads, for days. And they finally even let us know that this has been going on, right? What are they plotting and planning? Okay, because they don't do anything for free. It's always some kind of backlash behind it. So I want you all to really think about it, get in your Bibles and realize this has happened before, okay? And it's nothing good at all, because at the end of it, who's going to be the ones that are going to be distressed? Not only them, but the people that are here, because they're going to cause people to start fighting each other over the fact that they're bringing people here. They're going to be giving them citizenship right away. And then people who, came here and had to wait and all that kind of stuff. I've heard them tell me stories about what they had to go through to become citizens here, right? Ridiculous. So that's going to cause more resentment, and stuff like that. And then if you continue to read in these different articles, there's fights going on. at some of these shelters and things like that. And then you have some that are coming not just from Venezuela, but from other countries too. This whole thing with the war that's going on, right? Those people are coming here too, but they're being treated just a little bit different, right? They got these different housing places that look very nice and things like that, and they have they set that up for them, right? Because why? They're of a different ethnicity, right? So you have them treating different people different ways. Because when Haiti came over here, they sent them back and were beating them, and try to lie and say, oh, the pictures that you see are not true. But again, they're Shemites. So Shemites, they're going to treat us different, right? So they sent Haiti back. They sent all of these other people back that, if they like you, or if you're of a certain ethnicity, they're going to treat you right, right? So called, right? But at the end of the day, even the people that are their golden child, or who they feel they want to treat right, they're going to get treated wrong too. Because at the end of the day, this is an Edomite kingdom that is for themselves. And what they're going to do eventually is turn on everybody. But who's going to suffer for it is the people that are in the midst of all of this thing, okay? Because when they get finished making enemies with all these other countries, those countries are going to come. What do you think those countries are going to do? They're going to make the people that live here suffer. Because see, everybody has gotten comfortable in the fact that war has never touched these shores, but you better believe it's going to happen this time. And when it does, they're going to be running in their underground, this and that and stuff, and leave everybody to fend for themselves. So I'm advising you all, get in the word, read the book of Ezekiel, read the apocryphal books that they snatched up out of the Bible because they didn't want us to know about it. But those were placed in the Bible when King James, our forefather, had put the Bible together with the scholars that he had to, get the different books that our forefathers have written and stuff like that for our learning. Get to know these prophecies, because the Bible, let me tell you, as much as they are trying to get us to not believe in God here, that's the number one book sold. Why do you think that that's the number one book still being sold everywhere? Okay, because it has prophetic scriptures and things that have come to pass and are in the place of coming to pass now. So don't let them fool you, because they take prayer out to school, or they say you can't say the name of God, or, well, we don't believe in this Jesus. He probably didn't even exist, and all of this kind of stuff. Meanwhile, they still digging and finding stuff, and as much as they trying to say he didn't, yeah, they didn't want him to exist, because why? He's of another nation of people, right? They don't want you to know that. They don't want their own people to know that, right? That those people back in those days, like it or not, they were black. Shemites are black. Okay. So be wise as serpents and harmless as dove. Watch as well as pray. Excuse me. Ask God to reveal everything to you, because this whole world is in chaos and it's going to get worse. All right. So that's what's going on in the news today. A hot mess. All right. So we're going to sadly go to check out our missing youth, right? Let's check out who we need to look out for today. Sad that we have all these youth that are missing. All right. And all of that has to do with a lot of these people's nonsense with child sacrifice and all kind of crazy stuff that these people do. But yet they want you to look at other things in the meantime, oh, it's not that, it's this, it's not this, it's that, right? So the first person we have today is Valenzo Davis. He's been missing since September 24th of last year, 21, a year to the day. Hopefully he is found. All right. He's been missing from Baltimore, Maryland. September 24th of 2021, and that's his birthday too. Wow. Oh my gosh. So as of today, he is the age of 21 years old. Young brother missing. Black male, okay, eye color brown. His height is 5'5". His weight is 128 pounds. If you know anything about his disappearance, please report this and call the number you see, 1-800 The Lost, which is at missingkids.org. All right, let's find him. All right, the next person that we have is Trinae Cherry. All right, let's pull up her information for Trinae. All right, Trinae is missing since September 18th of this year, just what, a few days ago, really, right? She's missing from St. Louis, Missouri. All right, she's 15 years old. She's a black female. Her hair color is black. Her eye color is brown. She's about 5'6" and 125 pounds. All right, if you see her, 1-800 The Lost or missingkids.org. What you see here on the screen, please call and let the police, let somebody know what's going on in her situation. All right, let's look for these children. All right. The next young person that we have that is missing, Shaylin Gomes. All right, she's missing as well. Let's pull up her information. Shaylin Gomes has been missing since September 19th of this year, 2022, only a few days ago. All right, her age is 15. She's a they say Pacific Islander female. All right, her hair color is brown, her eye color is brown, her height is 5 feet, and she weighs 92 pounds. Okay, Pacific Islander, she's black. Okay, she's a Shemite. Okay, but I guess that's where she from or whatever, but she black. All right, so she's been missing since that day. Okay, September 19th. If you see her, know anything about her disappearance, missingkids.org or 1-800 The Lost, as you see on the screen. Okay, and I believe we have one more person that we want you to keep an eye out for is Delani Hyder. Delani Hyder, has been missing since September 19th this year, 2022, just a few days ago, from Decatur, Illinois. He's 16 years old. He's a black male. His hair color is black. His eye color is brown. He's about 5'11". He's 130 pounds. If you see him, all right. He may still be in the local area. They're saying the local area of Decatur, Illinois. They say he may still be in that area. Let somebody know. Dial that number below that you see, 1-800 The Lost or missingkids.org. All right. So that's it today for our missing children. It's sad. A lot of our children are missing, and a lot of times why they take our children is because our organs are stronger. When you look on the people chain, our organs are a lot stronger. They use our organs for heart transplants for people of other cultures, if you know what I mean. As much as they hate us, if they get ready to die, they'll take one of our parts and make them live. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. So they human trafficking is real, but they ain't just trafficking these people's bodies as far as sexual trafficking. They also trafficking the body parts. All right. So look out for that. Be careful out here, y'all. Please be careful. I always warn you, make sure your kids are close to you. Don't have them wandering way down the street from you and all of that kind of stuff. And you watch. The Bible says watch as well. Wherever you are, make sure you are on the lookout and on the alert. When you drive in your car, if you go into a parking spot, don't park next to these vans, because sometimes they open the van and snatch you up. All right. And all kind of stuff like that. So be careful. Be mindful. You know, if you're, traveling by, watch out when you're walking by yourself and things like that. And then the garages and stuff like that. Be mindful, okay? Try to be in packs. And even when you're walking in packs, watch, because they'll try to steal whatever you have. Okay, things are getting tough out here. People are not working, but they will try to work you. All right, so be mindful. Okay, so for our health and wellness, we're going to suggest to you to take up a hobby. Take up something that you like: music, art, dance, theater, something. You got to do something besides you sitting at work all day long. Oh, I got to get this report in. Oh, like a robot. No, even at your job, get up and walk around for 10 minutes. Something I do. Get up, walk around, maybe even jog a little bit around, a little bit something. Do something. Don't sit there all day. I don't care how much they may try to act like you are on some kind of plantation or whatever. Get up and walk around. All right. You need to stretch. You need to walk around. You need to talk to people. Something. All right. And when you're at home or whatever on the weekend, your days off, have something that you like to do. All right. We need it, especially in this day and time. As so for the business tips, of course, have a hobby for you event. All right. Have a hobby for you. Do that. Have some type of event where you come together with people who have ideas of things and groups that you could be a part of. Something that you enjoy doing. Okay. So that's good for business too. Something that people enjoy. You can have an event like that. You meet a lot of people like that too. Okay. So we are going down to our credo. All right. So our credo is Shama Yasharala, Ahaya Alahaya Nawa, Ahaya Ekad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God. The Lord our God, He is one. Deuteronomy 6, chapter the 4th verse. We serve one God. All right. Now, we're back to talking about Moses, who's the new leader, and he's having a fight even when he's just born. They're trying to kill the brother before good Lord, the brother just was born. And they trying to kill him already. Okay. So Jasher, the 68th chapter, and we start at the 13th verse. And the woman who is Moses' mother, she hastened to take away her son before the officers came, because the ruling went out to kill the Hebrew children. Okay. And that's the same thing like today. They sure trying to kill our young men, for crazy stuff. I'm seeing all kind of videos with our young men just walking on campus. I saw the other day a young brother going to he was a part of I think a historical black college or something like that. He went on campus and the campus police tried to arrest him for being on campus. Like, what? So she took for him an ark of bulrushes. So she said, ain't gonna kill my kid. So she put him in a little ark and daubed it with slime, with pitch, and she put the child therein, and she laid it in the flags by the river's bank. So her and her daughter Miriam had an idea of how to save Moses. So they put him in a little boat they made out of, you know, um, little weeds and stuff like that to try to hide him. And his sister Miriam stood afar off to know what would be done to him and what would become of her words, because she had prophesied that Moses was going to be born. He was going to save Israel. He was going to be the next deliverer. Joseph was one deliverer, and we go from one of our leaders to the next leader, Moses, right? So, and God sent forth at that time a terrible heat in the land of Egypt, which burned up the flesh of man like the sun in his circuit, and it greatly oppressed the Egyptians. Those who oppress us will be oppressed. Those who led us into slavery and captivity are going into captivity now. Do you see how the tables are turning? All right. Those who do wrong against us will get wrong done to them. All right. Our people may suffer and look bad now, but now the tables are turning. Okay. I'm seeing it every day. Our people were the only ones out on the street at one point in time. I'm seeing the oppressors out on their people out on the streets now. We were the only ones at one time with the jobs. Now those who are of our oppressors are suffering with no jobs. Okay, so the tables are turning. One kingdom is going down, another one is on the rise. Believe that. Okay, so now God sent forth at that time a terrible heat in the land of Egypt. Which burned up the flesh of man like the sun in his circuit, and it greatly oppressed who? Not us, the Egyptians. And all the Egyptians went down to bathe in the river on account of the consuming heat, which burned up their flesh. And Bathia, the daughter of Pharaoh, went also to bathe in the river. So now the Egyptian princess went to bathe as well. Okay, owing to the consuming heat. And her maidens walked at the riverside, and all the women of Egypt as well, because they're suffering from this thing too. And Bathia lifted up her eyes to the river, and she saw the ark upon the water, and sent her maid to fetch it. So she saw where Moses was in the little basket. She wanted to know what's in that little basket. So she sent her maiden to fetch it. And she opened it and saw the child. So she saw Moses in this little basket. And behold, the babe wept. So Moses' little baby, he's in there crying. And she had compassion on him, right? And she said, this is one of the Hebrew children. She knew who Moses were. See what I'm saying? So we're not just some on the continent of Africa, all black people. No, we were nations of people. When she saw Moses, she saw that he was a Hebrew. Whenever we go to visit Africa and stuff like that, people tell us, you're daughter of Jacob. In other words, I'm a daughter of Jacob. They know who we are. They could tell. They see what we look like and stuff like that. And that's how it was back then. Even though now we're more mixed in, so it may be kind of harder a little bit to tell. But basically, they know who we are. Okay, just like she did. All right. So uh she said that he's one of the Hebrew children. And all the women of Egypt walking on the riverside desired to give him suck. So they wanted to feed him, but he would not suck. He didn't want to suck, he didn't want to eat their food or anything like that. For this thing was from the Lord, in order to restore him to his mother's breast. In other words, sometimes even when we were in slavery, our enslavers could not produce milk. This is how wicked these people were. They wanted our black women to milk their children. Okay, so in this case, these women wanted to milk our children. However, Moses didn't want to eat from their breasts. So the Lord did it so that they would call for a Hebrew woman to milk this child. So Miriam, who was Moses' sister, had orchestrated it so that she would tell them, oh, let me get one of the Hebrew women that could, you know, um, feed him from her breast, which would be Moses' mother, right? The Lord blessed us to be wise, right? So Miriam, his sister, was at that time amongst the Egyptian women at the riverside, and she saw this thing, and she said to Pharaoh's daughter, shall I go and fetch a nurse of the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for thee? And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, go. And the young woman went and called the child's mother, which is her mother, right? And Pharaoh's daughter said to Jochebed, who is Moses' mother, take this child away and suckle it for me, and I will pay thee thy wages. So she, she's paying his own mother to take care of him. Isn't God strategic, right? 2 bits of silver daily, and the woman took the child and nursed it. So she's getting paid to nurse her own child, right? So don't try to outsmart God, because he'll outsmart you, all right? And at the end of 2 years, when the child grew up, Moses is 2 years old now, she brought him to the daughter of Pharaoh, and he was unto her as a son, right? So he's basically adopted as an Egyptian. And she called his name Moses, for she said, because I drew him out of the waters, right? So that's what basically uh, his name means, right? Drawn out of the waters. And Amram, his father, called his name Kabar, for he said it was for him that he associated with his wife whom he had turned away. Because remember, the men had stopped having relations with their wives because the Egyptians were killing the children. So, in order for the children to be able to live and stuff like that, a lot of the men were just doing away with their wives. They would go live somewhere else so that the wives didn't have all these children and the male children didn't get killed, right? So, Jochebed, his mother, called his name Juktheel. So Moses got all these names: Moses, Kabar, and Juktheel, because she said, I have hoped for him to the Almighty, and God restored him unto me. Right? So that's what his mother names him. And Miriam, his sister, called him Jared. So even the sister had a name for him. For she descended after him to the river to know what his end would be. She was a big sister to him. And so she called him Jared. She descended after him to the river to know what his end would be. The sister was watching over him. All of this was going on. And Kehath, the father of Amram, called his name Abigdor, because on his account did God repair the breach of the house of Jacob, that they could no longer throw their male children into the water. So God stopped these wicked men from killing the Shemites, the Hebrew Israelites. We're Shemites, right? And their nurse called him Abi Soko, saying in his tabernacle was he hidden for 3 months on account of the children of Ham. So you see, there's a difference of the blacks there. Egyptians are Hamites. If you look in the what do they call it? Uh if you look into the what do they call them? Bible commentaries and stuff, you'll see that Egyptians and different ones on the continent of Africa are Hamites. We are Shemites, all right? So the Hamites and the Shemites kind of weren't getting along there, right? There's a rift there between them and the Japhites, because remember, these are the three that survived the flood of Noah: Ham, Shem, and Japheth. The Japhites are more like the Arabs, and that type of thing, right? That those area of people, right? So Aaron, his brother, called him Abizanok, saying, my father left my mother and returned to her on his account. So Moses got like all these names. And Kehath, the father of Amram, called his name Abigdor, because on his account did God repair the breach of the house of Jacob, that they could no longer throw their male children into the water. Can you imagine these Egyptians were throwing the males into the water, killing them? All right. And their nurse called him Abisoko, saying in his tabernacle was he hidden for 3 months on the account of the children of Ham. The same thing is going on today, y'all. A lot of time they tell you that these black children are dying in these places. And they're not dying. They killing. They still doing the same thing, y'all. They just doing it in different ways. All of a sudden when they have all of these liquid things, I'll say, that they feel they have to inject these children with, that's murder. Okay, a lot of times that's murder. You shouldn't be even injecting a lot of these things, liquid things, into people, period, because these children are young. Their bodies can't fight against these toxic materials and things like that. But again, it's to kill the Shemites. All right, same thing, different day. All right. So, and all Israel called his name Shemaiah, son of Nethanel, for they said, his days has God heard their cries. In his days has God heard their cries and rescued them from their oppressors. And Moses was in Pharaoh's house and was unto Bathia, Pharaoh's daughter, the one who adopted him, as a son. And Moses grew up amongst the king's children. So again, just like Joseph was separated from his brethren to save Israel alive during the time of a famine. Now Moses, again, is going to be brought up in the king's house, all right, to save Israel alive, right? So it's the same move. God is doing the same thing. So now we're in Jasher, the 69th chapter. And the king of Edom died in those days, all right, in the 18th year of his reign, and was buried in his temple, which he had built for himself as his royal residence in the land of Edom. Remember, Edom is Esau. Esau, it was the leader of the Edomite kingdom. You have Jacob, who we are. We're the 12 tribes from Jacob, okay? We're Shemites, all right? However, Esau himself was a Shemite, but he left off his heritage and he became the leader of the Edomite kingdom, who would later become what? The what you would call the kingdom over there in Europe. He became a part of the European people. Okay, so they are Edomites. All right, and the children of Esau sent to Pethor, which is upon the river, and they fetched from there a young man of beautiful eyes and comely aspect, whose name was Saul, and they made him king over them in the place of Samlah. And Saul reigned over all the children of Esau in the land of Edom for 40 years. And when Pharaoh, king of Egypt, saw that the counsel which Balaam had advised respecting the children of Israel did not succeed, but that still they were fruitful, multiplied, and increased throughout the land of Egypt. That's the problem. They're afraid of us multiplying and being more than them. Okay, so this is why to this day our children are still put down. Okay, then Pharaoh commanded in those days that a proclamation should be issued throughout Egypt to the children of Israel, saying, no man shall diminish anything of his daily labor. And the man who shall be found deficient in his labor, which he performs daily, whether in mortar or in bricks, then his son shall be put in their place. So they were doing wicked things like if you didn't show up to work, they take your youngest child and put him in the place of the bricks that you were supposed to be doing for that day, hoping your child died. Okay, same thing like today, just a different way, right? And the labor of Egypt strengthened upon the children of Israel in those days. And behold, if one brick was deficient in any man's daily labor, the Egyptians took his youngest boy by force from his mother. They came, snatch a child up from your mother, from the mother, which is what it goes on today. Come and snatch your kids, right from the house, and claim he did this and that, and put him into the building in the place of the brick in the jail, which his father had left wanting. And the men of Egypt did so to all the children of Israel day by day. Not all of our children that get arrested have done anything. I'm going to say it again. Not all of our children that get arrested have done anything. All right. All the days for a long period. But the tribe of Levi, who are the people of Haiti today, they were the Levites, did not at that time work with the Israelites, their brethren, from the beginning. For the children of Levi knew the cunning of the Egyptians, which they exercised at first toward the Israelites. So the Levites from the beginning was like, nah, we ain't down with, y'all ain't gonna have us laboring. We know we the priests over here, get out of my face. No, y'all are wicked, get away from me. They took a stand, like, nah, we ain't doing that. Right? So now we're in Jasher, the 70th chapter. All right. And in the third year from the birth of Moses, okay, Pharaoh was sitting at a banquet when Alpernith, the queen, was sitting at his right and Bethia at his left. And the lad Moses was lying upon her bosom. And Balaam, the son of Beor, with his two sons and all the princes of the kingdom, was sitting at table in the king's presence. And the lad stretched forth his hand upon the king's head. So Moses touched the king's head and to reach out for the king's crown. And he took the crown from the king's head and placed it on his own head. At 3 years old, this was prophetic. Moses was letting them know, I'm here now. God sent me. I will be king. You haven't stopped anything. God's work will be well done. All right. So verse 3 says, and when the king and princes saw the work which the boy had done, the king and the princes were terrified, and one man to his neighbor expressed astonishment. Now, why would they do that? If this boy was so-called adopted by his daughter and he put the crown on his head, why is that a big deal? It's a big deal when you have wicked intentions for people, okay? So, and the king said unto the princes who were before him at table, what speak you and what say you, O you princes, in this matter? And what is to be the judgment against the boy on account of this act? And Balaam, the son of Beor, the magician, answered before the king and princes. Now, these people believe in magicians and stuff like that, right? And he said, remember now, O my Lord and King, the dream which thou didst dream many days since, and that which thy servant interpreted unto thee. Now, therefore, this is a child from the Hebrew children. Now, you're adopted, but they remember that you're Hebrew. You ain't one of them. They playing it off like you are, but no, right? In whom is the Spirit of God. They even know these people worship the devil, and they know that you have the Spirit of God in you. This is what makes them fear the most, is that we have God in us, the Most High God. We serve one God. We don't serve magicians and all of these crazy stuff, tarot cards and all of that. No, that is against the law of the Lord. That's wickedness, right? So they said, in whom is the Spirit of God? And let not my Lord the King imagine that this youngster did this thing without knowledge. So they're saying, God is in him. So don't think he snatched your crown, not knowing that he will rule next, right? For he is a Hebrew boy, and wisdom and understanding are with him. Yes, our children, especially our children that are being born, now that we know who we are, this is a generation that ain't going to turn back. Our young Hebrew children are going to serve the Lord. They know about the Sabbath. They know today is the Sabbath. You can't fool them anymore. They know about the feasts. They know the laws and commandments. They even know the laws of how we're supposed to eat and stuff like that. So our generations now are getting back to who we were. Our 12 tribes are starting to know who we are. It's not just the Negroes here in America. It's black people from that were sent to the four corners of the earth. All right, the different tribes that I named to you all: the Haitians, the Dominicans, the Puerto Ricans, the what's the group over there? The Hawaiians, the Fijis, I forgot the name of the other groups of people, but there's a whole lot of different people of so-called just people of color that are Hebrew Israelites, and they're coming to that realization. All right, so they're not going to be. We're going to stand up again. We're the dry bone. We're the valley of dry bones, and we're coming together again because Christ is soon to return. This world as it is going to be overthrown. You can't rule like this. All of this nonsense, if these people were really chosen to be rulers over us, would the people be fighting like this? Would they be causing people to come and causing chaos? No, God would not have a kingdom like this. So that should tell you something. They're not for your turn. All right. I don't care who you vote this one, vote that one, vote the other one. This is a kingdom that cares not for the ways of the Lord. You don't see that? The things that they're doing with the children in these schools. You can't even leave your children there. Somebody left their somebody's child was missing on the past week. Woman came to pick up her child, and these people talking about, oh no, you already picked up the child. She said, no, I did not. Here her child was several blocks down, like, a young child. And thankfully some good people saw the child and was trying to find out who the child was and how to get the child back to the mother. And she found the child a couple of blocks out, and these people supposed to be watching the children. Do y'all think if this was God's kingdom it would be like this? No. All right. So it says, Jasher, the 70th chapter in the 7th verse, for he is a Hebrew boy, and wisdom and understanding are with him, although he is yet a child. Yes, because even though he was adopted, he's still being taught by his mother and sister and his father. They're showing him the ways of who he really is. He's a Hebrew Israelite. He realizes that they were trying to kill him. He realizes that he's going to be brought up as a savior to save his people from the Egyptian bondage, right? So it says, and with wisdom has he done this, and chosen unto himself the kingdom of Egypt, right? For this is the manner of all the Hebrews, to deceive kings and their nobles, to do all these things cunningly, in order to make the kings of the earth and their men tremble. Yes, because the kings of the earth don't acknowledge God. They don't acknowledge the Lord, and they don't serve him. Why do you think they keep trying to go to outer limits? They can't even take care of the earth down here. Why they keep trying to go up there and see this mass and the stars and all of this? They can't even do us right here. Come on, y'all. Wake up, right? Surely thou knowest that Abraham, their father, acted thus. Same thing happened with Abraham. They wanted to kill Abraham. Remember that story? If you go back and see some of my videos on that, they wanted to kill Abraham, right? Who deceived the army of Nimrod, king of Babel, right? Remember the Tower of Babel? All right. But before that, when they were trying to kill Abraham, because his servants saw in the stars in the heavens and things like that, they saw how the stars reacted when Abraham was born. So they knew that Abraham was going to be king as well. And Abimelech, king of Gerar, and that he possessed himself of the land of the children of Heth and all the kingdoms of Canaan. Everywhere Abraham went, God gave him favor over those kings. Because why? The Spirit of God was in Abraham. All right. The Spirit of God was in Abraham. So you can't stop what God is doing. Right. So surely thou knowest that Abraham, their father, acted thus. Right. So in the 10th verse, and that he descended into Egypt and said of Sarah, his wife, she is my sister, in order to mislead Egypt and her king. Of course, Abraham had to say that because he knew the king was going to try to kill him if he found out that Sarah was his wife, right? And his son Isaac also did so when he went to Gerar and dwelt there, and his strength prevailed over the army of Abimelech, king of the Philistines, right? Now, the Philistines are of the Nephilim seed, right? Okay, the angels that came and cohabitated with women and had these giants and stuff like that. Those are the ones that they talking about that are aliens and all of that kind of stuff. All of that is going to come. You're going to start seeing a lot of weird stuff happening. That area, they talk about Area 51 and all of that, where the ISIS and stuff like that. Remember when the angels fell and stuff, there was a dome placed over those fallen angels. So you're going to see a whole lot of things that they're going to try to trick people with and stuff like that too. Those are demons, all right, demon seeds. So a lot of things is going to come, to the surface, that you're going to see a lot of wickedness in the land. And these spirits, you better have the spirit of the Lord, because these things are going to definitely damage people, right? Okay. His son Isaac also, when he went to Gerar, how he prevailed over the army of Abimelech. He also thought of making the kingdom of the Philistines stumble in saying that Rebekah, his wife, was his sister. So Isaac had to do the same thing. Jacob also dealt treacherously with his brother and took from his hand the birthright and his blessing. Now, these are people saying that, but it was told to Jacob, to Esau and Jacob's mother, that the older would serve the younger. It was prophesied that Jacob was going to rule. All right. He went then to Paddan Aram, to the house of Laban, his mother's brother, and cunningly obtained from him his daughter, his cattle, and all belonging to him, and fled away and returned to the land of Canaan to his father. Okay, now he's saying he's trying to give Jacob a bad name. All right, Jacob was tricked by Laban because Jacob wanted Rachel, but Laban wanted to give him his older daughter Leah, and he wanted Jacob to work all these years for him, and he wasn't really paying him rightfully. So Jacob had to figure out a way. Okay, so now I got to marry these two women to get out of here, and so I got to make it work for me. So I'm going to have all of these flocks and all of this. And he had all these different ways that he had of raising extra flocks, because he knew, I got to bounce out of here. I got to go back to Canaan. Canaan is the land that I came from. It's today's Israel. That was the land that was promised to our people. So his sons sold their brother Joseph, who went down into Egypt. Yes, Joseph was sold into slavery to save us alive, and became a slave and was placed in the prison house for 12 years, until the former Pharaoh dreamed dreams and withdrew him from the prison house and magnified him above all the princes of Egypt on account of his interpreting his dreams to him. Rightfully so. That's how the Lord had the Pharaoh to deal. Okay. And when God caused a famine throughout the land, he sent for and brought his father and all his brothers and the whole of his father's household, and supported them without price or reward, and bought the Egyptians for slaves. All right. So the tables turned. The Egyptians were serving us when Joseph was reigning. All right. Now, therefore, my Lord King, behold, this child has risen up in their stead in Egypt, to do according to their deeds, and to right and to trifle with every king, prince, and judge. If it please the king, let us now spill his blood upon the ground, lest he grow up and take away the government from thy hand, and the hope of Egypt perish after he shall have reigned. Now, wouldn't it seem like these people have enough common sense to realize you can't beat God and you should get on the right path? Shouldn't they repent and say, well, we're sorry for the things we did to your people. Sorry that we had you enslaved. Sorry that, we killed all of your kids and all of this kind of stuff. We're going to turn from that now, and let's become one people. Let's do what's right. No, they're going to repeat the same thing over again, right? Dumb as the day is long, right? So now, if it please the king, let us now spill his blood upon the ground. So now they want to kill Moses. Lest he grow up and take away the government from thy hand, a wicked government, right? And so the 20th verse says, and Balaam said to the king, let us moreover call for all the judges of Egypt and the wise men thereof, and let us know if the judgment of death is due to this boy, as thou didst say, and then we will slay him. Now, Pharaoh first was his fake grandfather, right? But now he wants to kill Moses. And Pharaoh sent and called for all the wise men of Egypt, and they came before the king, fake wise men, right? And the angel of the Lord came amongst them, and he was like one of the wise men of Egypt. So, angels can appear as people or animals at any time. So sometimes the Lord may send somebody to your deliverance, and that person could appear, and then you don't see him no more, and you're like, wait a minute, I think I saw a man that, and I was going to tell him thank you, but I don't know where he went. Some have entertained angels. The Bible tells you that some have entertained angels unawares. All right, good angels, the ones that are on our side to help protect us. Sometimes they come here as people. They walk amongst the earth all the time, y'all. They do. You downtown Madison Avenue, something, maybe somebody was going to do something down there, but that angel protected you. He kept you from something, and something, you like, wow, that happened to that group of people over there, but it seemed like I was supposed to be a part of that, but somehow things switched up. Yes, God had an angel to protect you. And soon our eyes are going to be open where we can sometimes see them in our realm. They're working on our behalf. This is a wicked world and it's becoming more and more wicked. And so a lot is going to be happening in the supernatural realm. So you better get to know the Lord because you're going to need him. All right. So an angel came along among those wicked men who were trying to kill us. Okay, and he was like one of the wise men of Egypt. And the king said to the wise men, surely you have heard what this Hebrew boy who is in the house has done, and thus has Balaam judged in the matter. Now judge you also and see what is due to the boy for the fact he has committed. And the angel, who seemed like one of the wise men of Pharaoh, answered and said as follows: before all the wise men of Egypt, I think I'm running out of time. I got 3 minutes. Okay. Before all the wise men of Egypt and before the king and the princes, if it please the king, let the king send for men who shall bring before him an onyx stone and a coal of fire and place them before the child. And if the child stretch forth his hand and take the onyx stone, then shall we know that with wisdom has the youth done all that he has done, and we must slay him. But if he stretch forth his hand upon the coal, then shall we know that it was not with knowledge that he did this thing, and he shall live. So the angel is wiser than these knuckleheads, right? So, and the thing seemed good in the eyes of the king and the princes. So the king did according to the word of the angel of the Lord. He's thinking that this is a wise man amongst regular men, right? And the thing seemed good in the eyes of the king and the princes, so they went along with it. And the king ordered the onyx stone and the coal to be brought and placed it before Moses. Now, Moses is a little kid, right? And they placed the boy before them, and the lad endeavored to stretch forth his hand to the onyx stone. But the angel of the Lord took his hand and placed it upon the coal. So the angel moved Moses' hand, and the coal became extinguished in his hand. And he lifted it up and put it into his mouth and burned part of his lips and part of his tongue. And he became heavy in mouth and tongue. That's why Moses stuttered. Moses was a man who stuttered, but you don't see that in the regular Bible, the 66 books. So the book of Jasher is giving you the background. That's why Moses stuttered. But anyway, we're going to get back to this in part 4 next week. So please tune in so we can, know what's going on with Moses, all right, and the children of Israel. So watch my show every Saturday from 7 to 8 p.m. All right, bronxnet.org, channel 951, 2137 on your cable channels, the Inspired channel. Okay, and also check me out on Instagram. All right, The Crystal Jones Show on YouTube. Subscribe, share, like my videos. Okay, and you stay balanced. Kwam Yasharala Kwam, rise up, y'all. Tell a story. Share this so that people know. Kwam Yasharala Kwam, God's kingdom is coming to this earth. God bless you. God keep you is my prayer. Stay balanced.
Stop using church intimidation, control and manipulation. Jezebel and all them spirits fall back, not trying to hear it. Go with Jesus, walk in peace. On your pew can sit that beast that we're fighting in the world. I'm that JC Supergirl, Jesus Christ, belt of truth, arm of God, I'm slaying you. Power of the word, two-edged sword. MC Heaven rocks for her Lord. Thought they crept in unaware, didn't see the gatekeeper standing right there. Not getting down with your tactics, undoctrinal practice. Rewind.